Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and whatever else you want to call yourself, I don't care. We've got a fun show today, but I've got the first story, and trust me, it's a doozy. Are you ready, Doku?
Oh, I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Awesome. It's up to you if you want to do the showy thing, but I'm just going to read the damn thing to people. Okay, you lot, prepare yourself. And by the way, this is not, I repeat, not Babylon B. New Jersey brother and sister allowed to marry after a 10-year-long court battle. A New Jersey brother and sister have won the right to marry after a landmark ruling by the Supreme Court of the United States. I believe that's quite important to you guys, isn't it?
It, yeah, just a bit.
Yeah. In a 5-4 ruling, five judges unanimously granted the appeal by James Baines, 41, and Victoria Baines, 38, after a 10-year-long battle. The overjoyed pair said they did it for the millions of Americans who consensual incestuous relationships and who are living in fear, and blasted the government for wasting taxpayers' money fighting their challenge. Quote, incest has been practiced by humans since the dawn of time. If Adam and Eve hadn't done it, the human race would not be here today. Unquote. James Baines told reporters after his historic victory. Why am I allowed to bang my cousin but not my sister? No, this is literally quotes from the thing. That's what's frightening. It just doesn't make any sense, James Baines criticised outside of court. The couple that was secretly facing the couple that was currently facing up to 15 years in jail said they were now planning to start a large family and enjoy their newly found freedom. Can you hear banjos playing in the background? I'm sure I can. We've always, oh yeah, we've always dreamed of having a big family. Now this dream will become a reality, added Victoria Baines, who also told reporters she is pregnant and expecting twins. Wow. Previously, New Jersey state laws only allowed first cousin marriages, but since a landmark ruling, New Jersey is the only state in the country to allow incestuous marriage. You are no longer allowed to take the piss out of Alabama anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. Yes,
Yeah,
I said gosh as well because we've still got 2 minutes.
yeah. Although for starting off with this story, we've already kind of gone past the whole family friendly YouTube algorithm thing. So
We have said nothing wrong, thank you, sir. I merely reported on the news.
well, yeah, to be fair, technically we're just reporting on the news. We haven't even decided to give our commentary yet. So let's see how long I can sit here and ramble and get us past that. However many seconds we have left before we can really
One
cut loose.
minute 30. But
Ooh.
isn't it absolutely fascinating to think that Alabama was considered one of the ultimate when it comes to the deep South states, and now New Jersey beats them.
Well,
I don't know what to say. I'm shocked.
well, I always knew there was something a bit off about New Jersey, but I didn't think this was the road we were going to be going down. Or shall I say, river we were going to be rowboating down.
Yes, she got. She's already pregnant with twins. Ding 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 ding.
To be fair, that's not surprising because they have been apparently fighting for 10 years. So I would imagine over a 10-year time period, something was bound to happen.
Yes, and Shirati has just turned up, so I'm going to repeat this. Shirati, there is a couple in New Jersey, in the north of your wonderful, wonderful country, that are getting married. Doesn't sound too bad, but they're brother and sister by blood. Apparently, New Jersey has made it legal for brothers and sisters to marry. I just want you to have a little think about that and realize how bad New Jersey must be. I actually feel sorry for Susie. I really do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Doku, good news. It's gone past 5 minutes. I am actively asking for your opinion on this.
Okay, all right. Um,
Pixie
oh,
is shocked.
where
Hmm.
where do I begin on this one? Because I actually am conflicted.
Yeah.
I do I approve of this decision? No, no, not at all. But there is a part of me that is very actively, and I'm sure this will come as a shock to nobody, that as far as I'm concerned, the government can kindly go fuck itself. So I'm I find myself in a very uncomfortable ideological conundrum where on the one hand I don't approve of what this couple are
Mhm.
doing, but at the same time, if they're both grown above 18 consenting adults, it shouldn't be any of the government's fucking business because go find a fucking pastor who is willing to condone this stuff, and that's between them and God, not the government. So yeah, I don't know exactly where I stand on this one, other than what the hell, man? What? Why? Like,
But Doku, there's one really good thing. If they get married, at least you won't have to change your name.
damn it, Jensen.
I have been holding that back in since the beginning, just waiting for the right moment for that one.
I, Jensen,
What?
I love you, but sometimes just, good lord, man.
But Doku, don't you listen to the music of our people? Ding 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 ding.
This is how the American royal family is going to start.
Yes, yes, you're no longer allowed to take the mickey out of us. You have this.
I
We don't. And
I
it's
know.
SCOTUS. I mean, if it was just a New Jersey court, okay, because it could get ripped apart by SCOTUS. But no, your Supreme Court has, in its infinite genius, said, yeah, go on, we don't mind. What does that
It's,
say about this universe right now?
it's a Jacob brings up a good point. There's a reason I wanted to. Well, first I will just read Jacob's comment. Either we maintain a healthy and normal society, or we let inbred abominations run around. And trust me, they are going to extend this to fucking your own kids. Enough with this. But as long as it's to themselves mentality, society doesn't remain stable that way. Not that we live in one. I understand what you're saying, Jacob. Trust me, I do. And the reason I say I'm in an ideological conundrum is because, as far as I'm concerned, the government can kindly, you know, piss off. But at the same time, when I see things like this, I do believe it is the role of society and not government to, reprimand this type of behavior because I don't condone it. This is one of those things where should it be the business of the government? No, because that opens other doors that could easily, no pun intended, get you fucked. But yeah, I don't. This is a weird one. I don't like this particular ideological argument because I'm not sure where I stand on it. It
Yeah.
it's it opens up one of those annoying arguments of, well, you agree with this, then therefore you must agree with that. It's like this is how we go down the fucking slippery rabbit hole slope that I hate going down. It
Yeah.
Either way, I don't like it. I don't approve of this at all. It uh I I don't know. I don't like this one. I,
No, I'm laughing not because I find it funny, but because I find it so appallingly disturbed that the dark part of me finds it amusing. But what counts as sentience in me just goes, oh God, oh God, oh God, how the hell did SCOTUS accept this? This is the bit that is doing my brain in. Okay, if they got it past the New Jersey courts, I could deal with it. Okay, I could probably stomach that as a concept, but they got this past SCOTUS.
I would like to know what the rationale behind the New Jersey SCOTUS decision for this was. Like, well, what precedent was there? Like, what led them to say, like, you know what? Uh, you're both consenting age adults. You do you, I guess. Like
They
what was
they
the
do
rationale?
they do kind of answer it. Apparently, first cousins are allowed to interbreed and marry, so they've just taken the next step. Now, you see, the fact his brother and sister is appalling. That's true, but it's now about to get worse. Just imagine when a mum and son or a dad and daughter go up there to get married. Yeah, because all precedent is now set. So technically, they should be allowed to. Yeah, just take that mental image and take it into a corner and shoot it a few times.
No, this is the reason I actually I hate being called a libertarian because I don't believe in the idea of pure anarchy and complete lack of government. Yeah, and I do believe in some rule of law and some sort of social standard that has to have some authority behind it because otherwise you live in the fucking Thunderdome. This is really testing my limits on like, okay, how much do I actually hate the government? Because trust me, I hate the government, but this is one of the situations where yeah, I think the government maybe should step in and say something about this one, but I guess apparently they did, and it's not
Yeah,
on the side that I would have
yeah, but
preferred.
dude, you know the video that I sent you from Memology 101. The government aren't going to step in and say anything. They're just going to be really, really quiet about all these problems, especially when directly asked about them. Like I said, give it a watch, be horrified, and know that this is your government.
Oh yeah, how do we define a life? Chirp, chirp, crickets.
To explain that to you lot, apparently some one of you guys actually was speaking to some sort of court of some sort and was asking them how to define life. And not only did they not give the usual crap answer, quite simply, they refused to actually speak. You literally sit there in absolute silence with him saying, tell me, here is $20. Answer this question. I will leave the money here. You can take the money. Please just answer me. Nothing. Then they said, oh, your time is up. Off you go.
Yeah, no, and Jensen's not being hyperbolic. I actually did watch the video, and it's literally like a minute and a half of silence. There's like, okay, your time's up. Bye. It's like,
Yeah.
so wait, you guys you're just not going to answer?
Yeah.
Like, you're not even going to give us the normal BS. You're not even going to like give us the runaround and the whataboutisms and the gaslight. Like, nah, they just straight silence for like a minute and a half.
I don't even know what to say. Do you?
I I can only say two things.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, just staying quiet and waiting for the time to run out was actually the smartest decision. Like,
Okay.
if you were the ideological opposition, don't even open yourself up for debate. Just be quiet. Just don't say anything. That is actually the best. That is actually the best move you could make. As much as I hate to admit that, but it's true.
Yeah.
The other point I can make is as much as it is a meme, it's funny, but it is also true. If you can define a single-celled organism as life, well, that's not even a clump of cells. That's just one cell. So, if you want to have that argument, because
Are you
we
are,
can.
are you trying to say that bacteria found on alien planets is life, but a baby found on Earth isn't? I've heard that in a song somewhere. I'm sure I have. Can't think where though. No, definitely can't remember where.
Well, that seems to be the standard. Again, it ties in well with the conversation we're having, because if you're going to maintain ideological consistency, you're going to run into certain arguments that are going to push that ideological consistency. So you're gonna end up with uncomfortable arguments where you have to say like, either maybe I'm wrong, or maybe there are lines that should be drawn or lines that shouldn't be crossed. Like, how are we going to define these types of things? Like, yeah, you're gonna get someone who's gonna bring up that point where you don't want to address it or talk about it, because the hypocrisy would be so incredibly blatant that it's just going to ruin your entire argument moving forward into perpetuity.
It's okay, mate. It's all right. You can relax. TC has explained everything. Bacon is life. Question answered. Lol.
Oh,
He's not wrong.
TC, correction. Bacon was life, and it's now sustenance for more life.
Fair point. But don't worry, we won't be allowed to eat bacon anymore. You'll have to eat. I almost feel sick saying these words, but buggen, because that's probably what it's going to be called.
Oh, yeah.
Bacon made out of bugs. Yeah.
And did you see the video? I don't know what news channel it was on. I forgot. But it was we can't call them climate activists anymore. I actually do prefer the term climate alarmists. But this dude was on national television saying that eating eggs and milk is a luxury that we can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about
Staple of life.
Pretty sure human beings have been eating eggs and milk and starting fires and roasting meat long before the Industrial Revolution or even the discovery of oil or the combustion engine or any of that shit happened. So I don't know what the fuck you guys are on about, but I can tell you this much. Not eating meat or consuming eggs or consuming milk sure as shit is not going to stop whatever climate crisis thing that you think is going on, because just little known fact, the entirety of your existence on this earth, from the time you're born until the time you die, all of the impact you have on the climate means less than a fart from a fucking volcano. But keep going with the hubris and think that you actually really have that much of an impact on the environment, because I hate to break it to you, you don't. Like, I'm sorry. To use a pun, to use a funny term, you are less significant than the bugs, actually. The bugs can destroy entire crops. You can't even fucking define what a woman is, let alone reproduce and get the human race to, above replacement level in terms of population growth. You're not that fucking significant. I know that might come as an unfortunate reality for some people, but reality doesn't give a flying fuck, and neither does the volcano fart.
Hey, Nomad. You're echoing, by the way, mate. But Doku, there is one thing that humans can do. They can now marry their brother and sister. So all is good, apparently.
Well, to be fair, if the chromosomes are a thing, if we're going to go with depopulation, their children probably won't last nearly as long as a healthy exchange of genetic material in terms of population. So maybe this is not necessarily a bad thing.
It says so very much, doesn't it?
And I'm looking for silver linings.
Yeah. Yeah. I shouldn't laugh, but I just find that highly entertaining.
You can't marry brothers and sisters.
Apparently, yes, you can.
That is a fake website.
Oh, it is now, is it? That's
Yes.
interesting. Oh, good. Because if you could, wow. All right.
I did check into that. I
Okay.
did
In
look
that
into
case,
that because I would have thought that I would have heard about that case from the Supreme Court.
so would I.
Okay,
In
but
that
it
case,
was
ladies and gentlemen, I would like to apologise for giving apparently fake information. But it just come to my attention. It is not a real website. Do carry on, sir.
so no. You cannot. The Supreme Court did not sit up there and say that a state can't ban brothers and sisters from marrying.
Yes.
Oh, all right. So we're not as close to the apocalypse as I had thought. That's actually good news.
Hold my beer. Mm-hmm.
I don't think I moved I don't think I moved the clock back a whole lot with that statement.
And you know what? I'll take a couple of seconds at this point in time.
I'm not sure you got a second. Okay.
My fractions of a second is still better than nothing.
This is a good thing that such things are not real. Let us hope you are absolutely correct with this, Nomad. I don't question you. I'm just thinking, if you are wrong and this is actually a true thing, oh boy, life is really interesting.
This would have been a major quote unquote ruling. Everyone would have known about it. They would have been talking about this one all over the freaking place. I guarantee you. All right.
Good.
Especially in the conservative media circles. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there are people that if this had been real, right, would have went absolutely berserk. Okay.
I have to admit, just for sheer shits and giggles, I would have loved. What's his name? Jewish guy, talks fast.
Ben Shapiro.
That's him. Imagine him reporting on it. That would have been glorious to hear. I mean, Alex Jones, we all know that he probably has done multiple on this, but could you imagine Ben Shapiro doing it? That would be amazing.
See, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really a fan of Ben Shapiro, like, at all. I don't really like him, but I actually would listen to him reporting on the idea of incest and mother son and brother sister marriage, because holy shit, that would be funny.
I don't think he'd know what to say. I really don't.
Especially if he had Dennis Prager and what the hell's the other guy's name? Andrew Klavan. I would like to just see the three of them talk about it, because
it'd be something, wouldn't it?
That's just my world is burning, let me laugh at it type of situation.
Oh, you mean normal for nowadays? Gotcha.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, now that I've come up with an idea that apparently was fake news, Doku, would you like to come up with some stuff?
Well, I can tell you something that is fake news but is being reported as real news.
Oh, God. Go on.
So this was I believe it was from CNBC. It was yesterday or maybe the day before.
Doku, if you're going to rob cars, you might want to turn off the alarms first.
That's not
me.
I was going to say, that's not me.
Oh, that's Jensen?
Yeah, someone has decided in their infinite genius to do this.
But here's a news story. So I guess apparently there's an economic analyst that is attempting to explain inflation as, and I shit you not, this is going to sound stupid, and it is, but this is a real thing. Someone actually said this. Because of the higher population of the millennial generation. Yes, because there's so many millennials that's why we have inflation. There's too many millennials.
Oh,
It's not the baby boomers. It's not the Fed bailing out the banks and doing repos and bolstering their balance sheet. Has nothing to do with the fact that we have a fiat currency. Has nothing to do with the government overspending. Nope. There's just too many millennials.
I'm actually want to point out from Jacob. Are they talking about their body weight? You can't say that, Jacob. That's fat shaming people. We don't allow such things like that. That's disgusting. You leave those hobbits alone. Go on.
For every fat millennial I see one that looks like they weigh maybe like what you would expect like a walking stick to weigh. Like I'm surprised they don't blow away like dandelions.
Fair.
Like don't get me wrong, like I'm a fairly healthy weight. Like I'm not skinny, but I'm not fat. Like I'm decent weight, but like I don't see a lot of millennials that are like super overweight. If anything, I see a lot of millennials that are like unhealthily underweight.
That's all the bugs are eating. To be honest, I'm surprised that you brought that up and not the other fake news. Should I mention the fact that dear old Biden has got cancer? I mean COVID. I mean cancer. I mean COVID. I mean cancer. He got one of them anyway, maybe.
Yeah, I did see his. Where was he? Boston, I believe, when he was talking about the climate change and the oil industry, and the oil industry gave him cancer. It's like, bro, it's not how that works.
Hold it. You realise that means that Biden is turning into Alex Jones.
Oh, goodness!
I'm not wrong.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
You guys just fail to understand. You just fail to understand that the oil industry. This is a deep-seated plot by the oil industry to get rid of Biden. First, they tried to give him cancer. When that didn't work, well, then they gave him COVID. All right. So because it's far more deadly. Okay.
Obviously.
Okay. According to the CDC.
Right? COVID is an oil byproduct.
All right. All right. So sooner or later, all right, if this doesn't work, you know what's next? Monkeypox. It's coming.
God.
It's coming.
Oh, God. He's probably joking at this, but I can actually see that being said. What do you think?
I know it's going to be said because people are freaking stupid.
They're putting monkeypox in the lube.
Yeah. Actually, first of all, I am about to get this channel in trouble. Do you both understand what I'm about to say? This is not a joke. I'm about to get us in trouble.
I'm surprised we haven't been banned yet. So
we may well after this. You do realise that monkeypox is just AIDS 2.0, don't you?
AIDS 2.0?
Oh yeah. You think about this, okay? One of the major things with AIDS was the fact that it was a male-on-male disease that spread to basically everybody. Very much like monkeypox, which apparently is only passed between as a male-on-male thing or for those involved in sexual activities. Can you see the connection here? Because I know I can.
All right.
You're not wrong, though.
Mm-hmm.
I get where you're going with it. You have a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but the difference is there's a vaccine for this. A real vaccine, not a pretend one. Okay? They have a real vaccine that actually works, that actually shows the actual prevention of the disease. Mm-hmm. And most Americans in their adult years, most Americans, not some of the newer ones, but most Americans, have already gotten a smallpox vaccine which works against this. Now, there are some people who are like, well, we don't know if this is still effective. I would have to say that considering how slow the rate is of this disease, all right, that, yeah, the smallpox vaccine is pretty daggone effective against this thing even today.
Yeah.
All right, that's just the impressions that I'm getting, because you don't see this, even though they said it's airborne, even though it said that they spread generally airborne, which the CDC also has said, you don't see it spreading like COVID did.
No.
Okay, and the reality is, I think what this disease is for the most part is you're going to have, it's going to come through physical contact,
Yes.
especially with the pustules.
Yes.
Okay. Now, for those who don't understand, the pustules can be anywhere. Okay. Many people they show it on the hands, which is the grossest thing, right?
Yeah.
Or on the face, which is very gross as well. Okay. All right. Because it just looks bad. That's what I mean by growth. The to get that illicit, but it could be on your back, it could be on your chest, it could be on your legs, is where the pustules come back. It could be anywhere. All right. For some people, to be honest, and it's real unfortunate, it comes on the bottom of their feet.
Yeah.
All right, it can happen where the pustules come out. Okay, now I don't know if there's a relationship to the site infection from where you caught it from, or anything like that. I know really nothing more about this disease aside from the fact that you end up with pustules. All right, but it could appear pretty much anywhere, and you got to understand that. You got to understand that the person may be looking. You're looking at the person. You wouldn't even know necessarily they had monkeypox, or it may be disfiguring to a huge extent, which for some people that would be absolutely devastating. I think for anybody who, if you had monkeypox on the face where it actually scarred the face,
Yeah.
that would cause all sorts of feelings of dread and stuff, just like burn victims do. Jensen, stop robbing cars.
No.
It's a joke, folks. I know Jensen isn't robbing cars. See, Jensen lives in the land of, well, we don't need AC because our world is nice and cool most of the time. So we leave our windows open so that the air can flow through, and it's nice and cool. Well,
Yeah.
since last week, anyway. we'll just ignore last week.
Cough, cough. 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Cough, cough. And apparently it's coming back next month, so yay.
Well, it is August. It's supposed to be the hottest month.
Yeah, in England, the hottest month is 80. At 85, we're considering it. Oh my God, it's amazing. At 100, you died. Okay, there is no doing it. And I know that for you, Mister, I live in the desert. 100 degrees is winter.
100 degrees isn't winter even here. Okay, 60
Okay.
is. But that's a separate issue. Okay.
Yeah, what you call winter, I call comfortable.
Yeah, that I'm sure of. All right. And if you've noticed, I haven't been harassing you about the weather. All right, because
No,
I feel
true.
for you mainly because of the humidity. The humidity you guys are going through with that kind of heat is just, you can't get cool. You can put a fan on, and how much are you really going to get cool even with a fan?
Dude,
But with all
you're
that
in-
being said, I want you people to think of something. Think of this weather 150 years ago.
oh,
Think of this going on in these closed-in cities 150 years ago. All right, what it must have been like. All right, because there was no AC. All right, there was no thought of AC. Okay,
Yep.
you just had to deal with the fact that it was, oh my God, hot.
Oh, yeah. By the way, just to let you know how hot it was, when the weather, air quotes, broke and it actually started raining, I was actually watching the rain hitting the concrete, or in my case, the iron steps, and it was actually dissipating almost immediately. It barely got wet. That should give you an idea how hot it was.
You
Yeah,
know, that's basically every time it rains during summer where I live, and you start driving down the road, you're not driving through fog, you're driving through steam. This is not an uncommon occurrence.
That's just wrong on too many levels.
The
Really
not
is.
uncommon occurrence for us is the rain. It evaporates before it hits the ground. They call it verga. I'm not exaggerating this phenomenon.
Wow.
All right, because it's so doggone dry. All right, so I mean, it's our humidity right now. I'm suffering on our humidity right now. It's about 45%, and I'm like,
45%. That's literally
Yes.
our starting levels.
Well,
Got
Nomad,
sympathies, man.
Nomad, the reason that you're encountering this, whether you're aware of this or not, is it's actually due to people eating too many eggs and consuming too much milk and having steaks and hamburgers and grilling outside. Didn't you know?
okay. So we're going back to climate change.
Oh. But before you do, I just want to let you know, Nomad, you saying that 40 odd is quite bad. We're on 78, and it's actually a really quite decent day here.
I said it was bad for me. I didn't say it was
Yeah.
bad for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys breathe moisture. You're damn near fish already. All right, let's be perfectly honest.
You mean you've realised our plan to flood the world and take over? Damn it! He knows what we're up to.
Okay. Now, look, folks. All right, I know a lot of climate alarmists constantly talk about the rise of the water, sea levels. If the entire Arctic melted, okay? If the entire Arctic, just the Arctic, if you went out there with some kind of magic heat ray, like, I don't know, the James Bond villain, all right, or Dr. Evil, right, and threatened to melt the ice caps, the effect of water rise on the oceans would be zero. Okay? If you don't believe me, melt ice in a glass. Learn science. Okay? It's not going anywhere. All right? You're not going to rise the sea levels to the degrees that these people keep running around at the mouths saying, oh, this is going to happen.
It's funny that they do, though.
Oh my God, it's gonna be 15 feet higher. No, it's not. Okay. Now I'm not saying that. Now that's the Arctic. Now if the Antarctic is a continental shelf. Yes, if you melted the ice that's on that land, it would cause a sea level rise. But it's not going to be anywhere near catastrophic levels, unless of course you're living in Florida. All right, which is about 1 or 2 feet above sea level already.
Now, to be fair, if you were a real Bond villain, you wouldn't be worried about trying to melt any sort of ice caps or anything. You'd be worried about trying to screw with the mood and mess up the tidal shifts, because that, on the other hand, could give you some rising sea levels and also decreasing sea levels in other areas, because, well, you're fucking up the gravitational relationship between the moon and the Earth.
That's true, but the problem with that from a Bond's villain perspective, because you got to think of these things. If you start moving, for example, the moon closer to the Earth, the tides would increase. All right? You know what else would increase?
Go on.
Earthquakes. Because the tide that you're talking about includes the entire Earth, including the mantle, which is liquid. Guess what happens when you start roaming the mantle around? You're going to be not only heating up the mantle, all right, you're going to sit up there and be causing a lot more pressure. There'll be a lot more volcanic activity, and there'd be a lot more damage done, which is quite unpredictable. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, at that point, you're not even necessarily worried about tidal shifts. You're worried more about, tsunamis would become, let's just say very fun.
Let's see. Let's do Krakatoa too. Let's see what happens. Oh crap! It was in Alaska this time.
Guys, one moment. TC, don't even go and stand in the corner. Go and stand outside. That was terrible. I bet Nomad is great at breaking the ice at parties, though. Yeah. And Doku, I sent you a picture. Just show it to people because it will give you a chuckle. It will give you a chuckle. And thank you for finding it, TC. You'll understand why I say that.
Oh no! What did you do, Zer?
Oh.
What did you do?
Okay.
Especially if you read that little bit under it, mate.
Yeah, I did, and
Well,
just give me a.
You'll recognise this.
What did you do? What did you do, Ray? What did you do?
Okay. There. The Bank of Evil, formerly Lehman Brothers. He's not wrong. He is not wrong with that statement. Okay.
Yeah,
That
but let's be
says it
honest.
all.
Lehman Brothers were pawns to be fall guys from the get-go.
Which should concern you.
You think so? I don't.
No, they
Let's
were.
be perfect. Let's be perfectly honest. Oh no! Before you go on, before you make that statement, let me ask you a question, Doku. How many of the Lehman Brothers executives, okay, went to jail?
Oh, none of them.
How many of them lost their fortunes?
Only the middle tier people.
Okay.
They made that.
So the guys at the top who raped and pillaged are still at the top raping and pillaging. Didn't most of them like go kind of transition on over to, I don't know, Goldman Sachs and Wells Fargo?
No, as a matter of fact, they went to J.P. Morgan Chase.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said, they're all branches of the same conglomerate.
All right, so they went back home. Is what you're saying, right?
Again, that it was set up to be a fall guy, but then again, you could make the same argument about Citibank, Bank of America. The only one that's really of any real concern in this type of scenario is oh crap, why am I blanking on the name? AIG, because they insure basically every fucking airline that operates in the continental United States. But every other group could easily just become a fall guy. But again, one head of the same Hydra. Doesn't really matter what happens.
Which goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning when we were talking about how to handle the shutdowns with the pandemics and what they really should do if they really cared to help people, right? Right? I mean that's really what it comes down to is this nonsensical crap, right?
Well, again, that's the thing. There's a reason that Thomas Jefferson made the quote about let me see if I can find the verbatim quote. Hold on, give me a second.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Because I don't want to misquote, so just give me a moment.
Yeah,
it's Thomas Jefferson. Misquote him all you want. The guy was a frickin' racist jackass.
Yeah, he was, but he still had some fair points to be made. Racism aside, he actually did. He said a few very important things in regards to the banking institutions, and to be blunt, he wasn't wrong.
Well, I don't think he was as racist as people claim that he was. Number one, and the situations, the people don't understand the situations back then and what life was like. All right, but that doesn't. I'm not saying that slavery or anything else is good. All right, and that it wasn't an evil from the very beginning, because it always was. All right, now it was something that's part of humanity's need to dominate. All right, I'm not going to deny that. Okay, but the thing is they lived in a world that never knew no slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's the thing. You can't look at history through the lens of modern morality.
Exactly, and that's my point. It's I'm not saying it was good, all right, and I never would. But the idea that somehow these people should have been pristine because they grew up in an entire different mentality. When I mean pristine, I mean according to your current modern day philosophy, is just ignorant. And what it also does is it denies the people who broke out of that It denies their place in history as great people who were able to say, we can truly see a better way. It denies their place in history.
I don't disagree. And okay, so I found these two quotes, and again, I find them to be more relevant today than they were at the time of the founding fathers, to be honest. The first one: to preserve our independence, we must not let our rulers load us with perpetual debt. We must make our election between economy and liberty, or profusion and servitude. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property. He wasn't wrong.
No, but the problem that he has that he failed to understand was that the government itself, all right, is perpetrating that, and a lot of the successors from people like him were the ones that did perpetrate that because they were the large landowners and that they perpetrated it on the people so that they could grow their wealth at their expense.
Well, hell, that's the reason a lot of people like to talk about Alexander Hamilton like he was some great person. It's like, nah, dude, he was trying to sell you out to the central banks from the fucking beginning.
Well, but he was talking about a Bank of America that was managed strictly by the Treasury. All right, there's a lot of difference what the world was like back then. Once again, we can't judge their intentions by the way things are today necessarily. All right. Good morning, Maddie. How are you doing today? Send her a link there, Jensen. Bring on Maddie. All right.
Okie dokie.
I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory with Maddie.
Okay.
All right. I think that Maddie's she has now been mutated to have multiple voices. All right.
Okay. Interesting concept. All right. One moment.
So, if you want to come on, Maddie, I realize if you're not feeling well that you don't have to, but I'm just joking. Maddie, either that or there's an eyelash or two on her forearm that she's not admitting to. And she's gonna have eyes on her forearms. Kind of like a Naruto villain, you know?
Yeah, I believe I've sent her the link if she chooses to.
Okay.
But yes, you are welcome to come on and give us your opinion of some of these things that we're talking about, and that's me being as polite as I can.
The problem with the whole global warming thing is back about 30, 40 years ago, right? Back in the 60s, right? NASA had done a study of the Earth's rotation around the moon and predicted that this would become one of the hottest points, all right, in our rotation around the sun due to how we are rotating around the sun. They predicted this. They also predicted that after this, it's going to start cooling down again. Okay? So the problem with this is always been just when you say there's global warming taking place, when you say that mankind is affecting the climate, you're not going to get people like me to disagree necessarily. All right,
Yeah.
with that statement, the problem has always been, okay, first of all, how much of an impact are we having on the worldwide climate? Okay, the idea that the carbon dioxide, all right, that's produced by man, is raising this to such a degree, all right, that it's causing all of these global warming effects. We know that this is not true. Okay. Now, can it have an effect? Yes. Is it to the degree that you're looking at? No. And we know this isn't true simply from the fact that we can observe that Mars is also going through a warming period. Okay? Yeah. Its ice sheets are shrinking. Now, we know that industrialization isn't affecting Mars.
Like I said, your carbon footprint is worth less than a fart from a small volcanic vent. All
right. So I'm not saying that it can't add up. Okay, I'm really not.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm saying don't get into these histrionics. Number one, and number two, all these dire predictions. right? Oh, the world's going to flood. Oh my God, the earth's going to burn. Oh my God, deserts are going to be everywhere. That's nonsense. Even if you get a 2 to 3 degree shift, okay, will some deserts grow? Yes. Will there be forests in other areas? Yes. Okay, you will have areas. Some areas will become very very dystopian and it would suck. I'm living in one of them. Okay, other areas like Greenland, they're going to be cheering this shit on.
This is true.
Okay,
This is true.
so
And, hey, Maddie.
Hi.
welcome. So let's hear the other voices.
I don't have other voices. I do not have other voices, nor do I have extra appendages. I'm not growing hair where I'm not supposed to be, and I'm not losing any.
Liar!
Oh dear.
That sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Fair point.
I do, however, hope that, wish and hope that my stomach quits trying to join the Olympic gymnastics team for the U.S. because this is getting a little chintzy right over here.
I assume you tried ginger ale.
I have ordered ginger tea and chamomile and lavender tea to mix them both together and start drinking them.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check.
Because the nausea pill works to a point. It's not like I've never been able to vomit. In my 48 years of life, I've only done that like 3 times. So
Nice.
I can walk around all day with the feeling that I have to and never. Which is worse than going ahead and doing it from what I've been told.
Yes and no, right? I can tell you that vomiting it feels better than just walking around nauseous to a point. But when you actually are in the middle of vomiting, it is painful because you have no control. Because you have no control,
Yeah.
right? So you've been blessed if you haven't been vomiting. Just let you know.
Well, I am constantly amazing the oncologist because the other day I talked to the nurse practitioner for the chemo side of it, and she was surprised that my electrolyte levels are still up and out of the danger range, just like my red blood cells. So, I'm like, well, I walked into this knowing that I was anemic and that I was iron deficient. So I started piling on more iron fortified vegetables, eating more meat and stuff like that because I didn't want my anemia to get worse.
Uh-huh. And now we know how this is happening because she's now able to go out there and chew on the neighbor's fenders. Right? Need that iron. How many kids' bicycles are missing now?
Hey, look, she eats the bicycles, I eat the kids. Dark Star has actually come up with an idea for you, Maddie. He'll send you some nude pictures of himself in your projectile vomit.
Oh my God.
Sounds good.
Oh jeez. Dark Star, bad, boo. Boo, bad. These new age kids, you never know what the hell they're going to come up with.
Dark Star, you know that you're only allowed to send the new pictures to Nomad. He won't allow you to send them to anyone else. These kids just don't learn, do they?
Nope.
I get to say these kids, that's hilarious.
Well, to be fair, the new trend is blaming millennials for anything that might negatively affect society, whether it's nausea, global warming, or economic collapse.
Have you seen the latest things about the hippies?
Oh, no.
All right.
Okay, fine. I'll bite. What now?
Oh, they're back. They're back. They're sitting up there in back into the teepees, doing their drugs, dancing around, getting high, and thinking that they're engaging in outer world experiences once more. And and I want you to think of something. If you think the world is sucking right now, if you think the world is in a lot of pain, a lot of things, think of this. Think of the fact that the people who are in charge were the hippies in the 60s. Does this really surprise anybody?
Nope.
No. But it kind of says what this world is actually going to have happen with that. And yes, Shirati, I am unfortunately a millennial. It's true. I admit it. I feel bad. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I apologize.
technically so am I, but also my dream is to have a fucking spittoon and a shotgun and a rocking chair on a porch somewhere. So
Well, I have in my time on the internet, I've been here since the beginning of I have met millennials that I would consider that have a level head. You're amongst them because not all of them are, flighty little twits that really needed better education than they
He
got.
he's still a long-haired hippie. Don't let him fool you.
I am not a fucking hippie, damn it.
I'm
Just
just going to
because
say,
I don't like the
buddy
government.
Christ.
Just because I don't like the government, big banks, or mega corporations, or globalist elites does not make me a fucking hippie or an anarchist.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yet.
That's only because he hasn't been declared as such.
Yeah.
I am not a hippie. I am a dirty capitalist.
See, this right there already shows you that he's a hippie. Because if he was truly a capitalist, it would be filthy capitalist. Know how to speak the language, sir.
Fair, actually.
I'm a dirty capitalist because I choose to invest in oil, and apparently that's the term.
Ooh.
So you're admitting you're actually... oh my God, you're the reason that Biden has got cancer. I mean COVID. I mean cancer. Now we know. It's your fault, Doku. You're to blame.
Well, you know what? If Nancy Pelosi is going to sit there and insider trade with some of the corporations that she's doing, she's just as guilty as I am.
Were you in Boston recently?
No, I wasn't actually.
Technically, it's not that
And
far
I have
for
no
you.
I have no intention of going to Boston. I've been to that city once, and I have no intention of going back.
I was referencing Biden's speech, just so you
Yep.
understand.
I know. Biden's they spilled oil on the cars and it gave me cancer. And, yeah.
I loved how he stood up there and said, every time there was frost on the windshields, we would know because we'd see it as an oil slick. Do you know how frost works?
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't even know how his legs work at this particular moment. How many times has he fallen upstairs off bicycles? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually surprised that Elizabeth Warren didn't shove him off of Air Force One. She had the chance.
Yeah, but I think she thought about it and looked at Kamala and went, it's a little worse.
That might have
That's
been
a
true.
fair point.
To be fair, the only reason she did it is she knows that she's well behind Pelosi, Kamala, and Chuck Schumer for that position. So it's really
Well, you don't have to worry about freaking Pelosi. It's easy enough to get rid of her.
Say boom.
Just mix the bottles a little bit and you're fine.
I cannot watch Pelosi talk. I have to listen if she opens her yap to lie to everybody because I focus on her mouth and her loose fucking dentures.
Oh,
I
my
blame
God.
it on my ADHD. I'm like, woman, you make enough money. It's called C-bond. Fix it then. Come on, glue the shit in your mouth and go for it. Jesus Christ, woman.
Oh no, my favorite thing from Pelosi recently is that question she got from a reporter is like, does your husband ever make trades based upon information that he goes, no, he's never done that. It's like, now explain your recent NVIDIA purchase while you're now pro the chips program.
Well, it's like I cracked up my mom when we had just first moved here, and the first time Biden came on the TV, and she goes, "Oh, look, it's the asshole again." I said, "No, repeat after me. He's our senile senior-in-chief, our monarch of muddled, mundanity, and our tyrant of tenuous thought."
Nice.
That's
I like that.
actually extremely accurate. I
The
need
man-
to applaud that real quick. Like, hold on, just yeah. That's
The
appropriate.
man needs cue cards. Stop speaking. Sit down.
Right?
True. That's
Exactly.
And I wish I was making that up.
Yeah.
I really do.
But it's true. It's true. Repeat the line.
Yeah, right? I bet you if on the teleprompter they literally put ... do not say this part ... and had his prompts, he would literally say, do not say this part.
Yeah.
...
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, he's already done that.
Actually, I've got a thought for you guys. You know how Biden is known for his fascinating ability to create new words. Do you reckon what it is a teleprompter guy sneezed and hit the keyboard by accident?
No, that would give him credit.
Oh, good
Yeah.
point.
Okay, when you come back and say I can describe America in one word, what? What was that? And then he went on to Z in China,
Right.
Xi Jinping, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
No one knows at this point in time. It's just like, bro, what? I understand how the Uniparty works and how the global conglomerate elite, but if you're gonna pick someone, did you? I know you guys need a Manchurian candidate, but Biden, really, guys? Like, you might have overestimated this guy a little bit.
I mean, when during the campaign he said, "I'm running for Senate, and if you don't like me, vote for the other Biden."
Yeah.
And he got his sister confused with his wife.
Yeah, and also he's Jill Biden's wife.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just all this during the campaign, and people still voted for him. I'm like, you voted the senile idiot in office. Now we're stuck with him. And I ran across in my news account on Twitter, these people are like, "Well, I bet you're a MAGA." I said, "No, our shit lord in chief was half and half with me. He did do some good shit, and then he did fuck up some shit."
Oh yeah.
I said, but he was and he still is a raging egotist.
Oh yeah, no one. I have not met anybody who's been pro-Trump or anti-Trump or anywhere in between that refuses to admit that Trump has one of the largest egos of any president of modern history. That is without a doubt 100% a fact. But bro, you guys elected Biden because you didn't like the mean tweets and the ego.
Yeah.
Right?
From
Good job.
TC, Biden couldn't run for a bus or run a bath. He's not wrong. In all fairness, he literally couldn't. I mean, the guy would stagger and fall over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's done it enough. It's not a joke anymore. It's a statement of fact.
I mean, and the sad part is we're literally witnessing an entire, administration being party to elderly abuse, because this is what this is. He's not capable of running the country.
No.
He's not. And I say that with all sincerity. Now, would I sit there and share a beer with a guy? No, I don't really like him, nor do I like his politics. But he doesn't deserve to be, flaunted in front of cameras looking like an idiot, because he's literally exhibiting signs of Alzheimer's, and people just keep making excuses for him. It's sad. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't disagree at all. And again, I'm right there with you. I don't like the guy. I do believe he has engaged in criminal activity, which is the one thing that is keeping me from having more sympathy for him. But yeah, this is elder abuse at this point in time. Like, has he done things that I believe to be criminal? Yes, I believe he has, and they were.
Oh, he sold his office. Let's be perfectly honest. He sold access to his office to the highest bidder through his son.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
And I defy anybody to tell me that that's not what was going on with those emails from Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
And they're all real. It's not a joke, folks. He has been selling access to the highest bidder, and he's been making bank on this. So tell me, how does a servant, you think it's a joke? Tell me how a servant, okay, of the public, who has been in public office for, what is it, going on 50, 60 years now?
54 or 56 years, something like that.
Right.
I think at this point in time now it actually is like 60.
Right?
Yeah.
Explain to me how he's worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, him and his family.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
Well, actually, no, I
Pelosi
can.
and Mitch McConnell, same way.
I can actually explain how he's not got that much
Well,
money.
Mitch McConnell's got Chinese money. Let's be perfectly frank.
The reason Biden doesn't have that money is because his son spends it all on crack. Let's be honest. Tell me I'm wrong. Go on. We have literally pictures proving my statement.
And that's the thing. Remember, like, everyone was like, "Oh, the Hunter Biden laptop is a right-wing conspiracy theory." It's like, Yeah, even the New York Times has to admit that no, it's not. But
Well, the problem with, but what did the New York Times do with it?
nothing. And good luck getting any of the federal law enforcement or the DOJ to do anything about it. They're not going to do jack shit.
No,
What-
because they're too busy protecting the Bidens.
Well, they're too busy protecting the establishment which they're a part of.
Yeah,
They're all making money like that. For example, when I've been pretty radical when it comes to from the standpoint of the people on the internet. All right, when it comes to the Ukraine, okay, and it's not that I don't feel for the people of the Ukraine, but the reality is, as bad as you think Putin is, all right, Zelensky is no better.
Nope.
Okay, whether you like this or not. In fact, they've recently come out to an article going, yeah, we seem to have a problem with corruption and graft in the Ukraine. No shit, really?
Right?
You have a frickin' Ukrainian airplane carrying weapons to Bangladesh. Okay, it crashed in Greece. Because it exploded repeatedly. All right? This is not a joke, folks. I'm not making this story up.
He's not.
Because it was carrying weapons to Bangladesh from Serbia. And you don't think there's graft going on?
Well,
Right.
again, that's kind of the unfortunate thing that people love to ignore, as much as they like to go on Twitter and try to virtue signal about politics and shit. Did we forget that that terrorist organization that everybody was so, no pun intended, up in arms about, ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria? Do you know who funded them and provided them weapons? Oh yeah, it was the Obama administration. Funny how that works.
Well, it's like my mom when this shit started happening with Ukraine. Mom was like, "Let them fend for themselves because they didn't want to be a part of the UN." Now, my whole thing is this. Part of me agrees with her, and part of me agrees with the reasons why Ukraine didn't want to court and eventually join the UN if they met all the qualifications. First of all, we're in the UN. We have become the world's police. Every time shit breaks loose, oh, the Americans can handle it, and we have no say because we always get outvoted as to whether or not we want to actually be over there or not.
Maddie, have you heard my view of what we should do at the UN?
You have a view on the UN.
Look, I've
When?
always the UN and NATO need to hold hands, take a long walk off a short pier with cement shoes in Minecraft, YouTube, in Minecraft.
My comment was like this: as the president of the United States, if I ever, God forbid, ever became president of the United States, and you should all think in terror, right? If I became president of the United States, one of my first acts, not necessarily the first, but one of my first acts would be to go walk up to the UN to give a speech, and the speech would go something like this: Thanks for having me. Because the United States can no longer abide by the UN Charter about being a peaceful nation, we hereby withdraw all the U.S. from the UN. The following nations are now under attack. Page 2. All right, just to let people know, all right, that this shit's over.
Right.
There would not be a problem with the Iranians because the Iranians would cease to be a problem. Okay? There would not be a problem like this anymore for the world. Why? Because I'd bring in B-52s and I would flatten everything that moved. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't listen to anybody else. I wouldn't listen to anybody whining or whinging about the poor civilians are dying. I don't give a shit about the poor innocent women and children who are dying because the women and children are dying are freaking human shields. Okay? I'm sorry. It's tragic. Deal with it. And if, as far as the civilians go, if they had enough intestinal fortitude, all right, they wouldn't be in this situation. They are the ones that have allowed those mullahs to take over. And since they want the apocalypse for themselves, I'm willing to bring it. Okay, and if any of the other freaking Arab nations want to rise up and go, hey, bad U.S., you evil Satan, you can go with them. All right,
Just
just
like it
putting it out.
noted, mate.
Back in my hole. Back in my
I
hole.
absolutely support what you're suggesting, but don't forget, drop a couple of nukes on Paris. And you get all of our votes, okay?
Oh, damn, there go the croissants. God damn it.
No, we're just toasting them a
I
lot.
mean, really, they're only good for croissants and coffee. Why you gotta bomb an entire country?
Because they're cheese-eating surrender monkeys and they deserve it.
They used to be lords of the world. That's the sad part.
Yeah, then we turned up.
No, they did a hell of a job beating the hell out of you for a number of friggin' decades.
No,
Don't
is
forget
true.
that.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah.
that is very true. They did.
Now,
And
now,
then we
now,
got
now.
pissed off.
According to Eddie Izzard, Britain conquered much of the world with the clever use of flags.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are devious little git.
Yeah.
Actually, the British just sailed into an area and said, "Hey, we're here," and people said, "Who are you?" And they said, "Well, we're the British. We don't like you. We don't care." Okay, you see the battleship? That's how they dealt with things. In fact, people don't know this. All right, if you study Japanese history, all right. Now, yes, Commodore Perry, all right, as an American, sailed in there and used gunboat diplomacy from the British, all right, to open up and say, "Look, you're going to stop killing our sailors if they frickin' land on your shores." Okay, that's all we were asking for, right? The British, on the other hand, said, "You know what? You have that city Satsuma. Yeah, you guys opened up some cannon fire on us. You don't need this area anymore." And they flattened the entire freaking city. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with this. You know, deals with issues.
You also have to, you have to kind of, also navigate a very tactical nuke on a certain mansion in Cuba, just to, just to hit the mansion, just the mansion.
Yeah, I do wonder about that, and I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to get a bad reaction for this. How is it a country so teeny as Cuba beat America?
It didn't.
It didn't.
I'm sorry. I thought that you didn't capture it. That it is still its own country, even if it is a province.
We created it as a country.
What happened with Cuba is when Castro took over and he overthrew Batista, he actually courted the United States first for aid in order to become an ally to it. And JFK at the time said, "We do not negotiate with terrorists," calling him a terrorist. And so the only other door open to him at the time was the USSR, which is how it became a dictatorship with a communist government. Now,
I don't know if that was JFK. I think that might have been Eisenhower early on.
Yeah, chemo brain. Thank you. Later on, they're doing their own little thing down there. The Bay of Pigs happened and all this other stuff. Every time we tried to invade to liberate, Castro had put the fear in people to the point where they didn't help the invading force that was trying to liberate them. And much of the first invading force was actual Cubans that had fled the island, got trained, and came back.
Yes, and the sad part is we betrayed them. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. That JFK, when he said go forward, did a Carter. Okay, now granted he did it first, so you could say Carter did a JFK. All right,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing. Once you start an operation, and you know this, Jensen, if you're going to start a military operation, you see it through.
Oh yes.
Okay, that's the only choice you have. If you don't, you guarantee yourself destruction.
Yeah, do it.
And
or don't,
we did that to the frickin' poor Cubans during the Bay of Pigs. We refused, all right, to allow the second strike that would have finished off his Air Force.
Yeah.
And then we refused to land the tanks that they were requesting.
Yeah.
Which were sitting offshore that we had promised them. Look, you can complain what you want about the U.S.'s interventionism and things like that, right? And we can have that discussion as well. But once you begin a military operation, to go in half-assed with that kind of mentality is the absolute worst frickin' thing you can do.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Agree.
Yeah, you can't go in with a mentality that, the people are going to rise up and they're going to finish, and they're going to take over their own country. He didn't realize the grip of fear that Fidel had on the entire fucking island. I mean, as much as I hate Fidel and his brother and in the regime, is he was smart. Fidel was wicked smart. He was cunning as a fox. He
Mhm.
knew what to say to the people. He knew how to say it and how to present it. He knew how to whoop everybody up, and he also knew how to put the fear of God in people to where they wouldn't rebel.
Would I be correct in suggesting cult of personality? Because
Yeah,
obviously I weren't around for this, so
yeah.
okay, cool. Just checking.
Because what he first started doing was speaking out against Batista. Batista was no saint. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Batista
Oh,
was
the Batista's
laundering money
bad.
on the island in order to court gangsters, to get more gangsters on the island, to get more money. He was building extravagant
Yeah,
projects that were overbloated. He was pissing off the people, and he thought the one thing that would turn the people back over to his side became his iceberg of the Titanic, so to speak. He freed Fidel and Raul from Las Cabañas, which is basically underground jails.
Okay.
So the Castro brothers, got with Che Guevara
Mm-hmm.
in the mountain range over there on the island, and they started consorting together and spreading words and whispers and stuff and seeing how many people would be on their side. And before they knew it, they were able to overthrow Batista. Batista fled. He didn't go back to the island. He fled the island. And then that's when, after everything was said and done and Castro was in power, that's when he showed his true colors, and the revolution started taking everything from everyone, rich, middle class, or poor. Because in communism, everyone is equal.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the thing is you have to say you're right, especially about the cult of personality, because he roped in Che Guevara.
Yep.
Now, I've said a lot of things about Che Guevara, and most of them not very good. Okay, because the guy was not a good guy.
Nope.
All right, but the one thing that you can say about the son of a bitch, all right, is that he was a committed revolutionary. He truly did believe in the communist revolutions. All right,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why Castro constantly shipped him off the frickin' island. All right,
Yeah.
because he couldn't keep this guy, all right, on that island, all right, without him at some point going, you know what, you guys are so corrupt, I've got to fight against you. We have to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
Okay, which is why he died in Bolivia and not in Cuba. Okay,
Okay.
all right. So you get, I mean, and as far as the brains, the power behind the state initially, the power behind the Cuban state initially was Che Guevara. All right, and he was a murderous son of a bitch.
Well, so
Okay.
was Fidel, and Raul's just a little more
Yeah.
about it.
Well, yeah. No, I'm not saying that they weren't, right? But he went through with organized murder. Okay, he was the one who actually set out the plans to wipe out anybody that stood up there and disagreed with them. Anybody that was in the clergy was taken out and shot and killed.
Okay. Just one question to clarify, and I know I'm going to sound stupid saying this. That's the T-shirt, dude, isn't it?
Yes,
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
that's one of the T-shirt dudes. You're right.
Okay, cool. Just, look, you know what I'm like when it comes to this sort of stuff. But I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same guy. Okay.
Right, but Castro, of course, being Castro was a master manipulator like
Yep.
Hitler in a lot of senses. For example, he's the one who came up with the whole phrase "be like Che."
Oh.
Yeah.
From Dark Star. Are you saying Justin Trudeau's father wasn't a true believer in communism? just saying.
Did you ever see Fidel stripped down to his waist and cut sugarcane?
Nope. Because he wasn't going to do that.
Apart from one of the pawns, no.
But Che did.
Ah.
All right, you got to understand who Che Guevara was. When I say Che was a true believer in it, he was a true believer in it. Okay.
I mean, the difference is Che was ride or die. Fidel, it was an ends to a means.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the
Very
difference
much so.
between the two of them. He knew that communism was going to get him the power that he craved and the position that he wanted in order to control the masses. That's all he wanted it for.
understand who Che Guevara was. When I say Che was
Sin, you.
he was a true believer in it.
Sin, we can hear you, hon.
The
You're-
difference is
I'll just mute her. It'll be easier. Unmute yourself when you've turned off your sound for YouTube, hon.
Yep.
Right. This is Syntax for those that haven't met her. She has a different outlook to Nomad. I'm going to put it that way.
I love how you put that diplomatically. Something
Yeah,
tells
I'm
me
here.
she's.
Hello. Welcome.
That's
So
like
let's hear your opinion then, because you said that you strongly disagree with something.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you clearly.
Oh, I'm fascinated. Thank you so much. You guys are teaching me so much.
You're welcome. To
I
be
do
honest,
know that
I'm
the
learning.
Americans killed Che in Bolivia. I do know that for a fact.
Okay.
But
I barely know who he is, so it's not really saying much.
you what?
I barely know who he is. Literally,
Oh,
everything I know about him is this. He's the guy that appears on posters and on T-shirts, isn't he? That's it.
yes,
Right?
yes. He's idolized. Rage Against the Machine kind of
Yeah.
put him as their like poster guy.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh,
that's just
here's a funny thing that you
Oh.
might enjoy, Jensen.
Yep.
When I was working for Party City, there was my first. I think it was my first or second Halloween. We were unboxing the masks to put them on the mask wall,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden I took out 3 Che Guevara masks,
Mhm.
and I'm looking at these masks, and I look at the manager, and I'm like, "Please tell me you didn't that corporate did not ship any of these to the Miami location." She goes, they
Hmm.
probably did. I
gosh.
said, okay, I wouldn't be halfway surprised if there was a protest. She goes, why? I said, because and I told her. She went, oh yeah, that's a no. I said, yeah, that's a no. So about 48 hours later, I'm at home having dinner with the news on, and they're showing a protest outside the Party City in Miami. Where people are refusing to go in there until the masks get taken off the wall.
I wonder why. Can't
You-
imagine.
You guys didn't have Hitler masks too?
Actually, yeah, we did. I mean, Britain was famous for our absolute love of that lovely little Austrian guy. You know,
Harry. Just
no.
put it out there, just Harry.
What?
just
Hey.
put it out there.
He likes Hugo Boss. What is the problem? It's a fashion style. Does anyone believe anything I'm saying there?
No.
I do have a bridge. Okay.
For those who don't understand the reference, look up Harry's costume party. You'll find out.
And
Oh,
he's talking about Prince
you.
Harry, or also
Yeah.
known as the ginger twat.
did you?
Or That's
Is
what I
it-
call him. And I'm
Is
ginger.
it? Isn't he the former prince?
Sort of.
It isn't he like just a symbol like Marco's face?
Pretty,
He's the hot one.
that's the disturbing part. Yeah, but no, you're not actually wrong with that, unfortunately. But I'm assuming you heard his absolute stroke of genius, how he thinks he has an opinion on Roe v. Wade.
Oh yeah.
That was let's put it this way.
I like the fact that he thought he had an opinion about the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah,
Okay.
even over here, we actually all turned around and went, "Oh, shut up, you tit!" At that. Okay, look, okay, I will take the absolute piss out of you colonials whenever I can. It's just what I do. But when it comes to the amendments and stuff, you guys know so much more about this than I ever will. That's why I hand this over to Doku and let him do it.
Yep.
All right, what do you need me to do?
Oh no, we're just taking the mickey out of the amendments. Though I would like to point out, repeal the First Amendment.
Have you seen what the hippie? You're gonna give it
God.
to the hippie to take over, and look what he's done with it.
Yes,
I
fun,
am
isn't it?
I am not a hippie, damn it.
You know, that's actually what all hippies say. Interesting, that isn't it?
You know, if this channel was any bigger, I would suggest that phrase for a merch on T-shirts. not a hippie, damn it.
You know what?
Oh,
That
that'd work.
That
Yeah.
actually might not be a bad idea. I wonder how much it cost to actually start a Teespring store and come up with a decent graphic design for I'm not a hippie, damn it.
So let's be honest. When Dodge was running this channel, he came up with the best one, and that was Cabby to memes. Shut the fuck up, memes. Come on, that was still the best.
Well, let's face it. Memes was the Wesley Crusher of the group.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh, poor memes.
You're not denying it though, are you?
No, I'm not.
No. And Sin memes is well, we call him a person, but basically he's a scaly, and he is so middle of the road. He quite literally has splinters up his ass from sitting on the fence that much.
Think of Bobby Hill as a hippie.
Oh no.
That is what memes is.
Oh, that's so right.
Hey Doku, I have my Cricut. I can make you a T-shirt.
You know, I might actually end up taking you up on that offer.
I can make you a T-shirt. I just need a picture to prove that you're wearing it out and about.
You
There
know
you
what?
go, mate. You're challenged.
All right, I will be in contact with you in the background.
Sounds good.
And one thing, Doku, just be thankful. I still haven't actually demanded that you do the part 2 for the singing challenge yet. I've not forgotten.
I know. I'm never gonna live that down.
Can we do Disney singing? Like maybe?
No, I refuse to support anything that is Disney. I do not support. I do not support an organization that supports groomers, sexual predators, and pedophiles.
Well, what about that Little Mermaid song? The Look at the Stuff. I think you'd be really good at it.
No. I think what Doku's trying to say is that we should all let it go.
Oh.
Sorry about that. I had to do that one.
Jensen, that was low hanging fruit.
I'm not wrong,
knock you
though.
for it. I won't knock you for it, but that was low hanging fruit. It needs to be said.
So I've now got the mental image of Doku attempting to do the voice for Elsa, and that is fascinating.
God.
I don't know why you guys constantly talk about all this cutesy kind of stuff. I mean, whatever happened to the good songs like "Be Prepared"?
True.
I mean,
Or the one where Rolo's singing about the gypsy because he has the hots for her. Because
Jesus.
Cool.
There's some dark stuff in Disney's past. Though.
there is.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I finally because we have Disney Plus. Sorry, Doku. But Mom doesn't like commercials.
No, one
So I
sec,
finally,
Maddie.
what?
Maddie, one sec. You say that there's some dark stuff in Disney. Are you talking about Song of the South? Is this what you're trying to say?
I'm talking about like the sexual stuff.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
and I finally got around to watching The Black Cauldron. Remember that old Disney movie?
Yes, I forgot about that
So
one.
I finally got around to watching it for the first time ever, and I'm watching this movie, and my brain is going, if I hadn't have clicked on the Disney Plus app, I would have never guessed this fucker was a Disney movie.
I would
Because
just like
it's
it.
dark.
Yeah, I would just like to point it out. Okay, England is not like that. I know you Americans got this strange idea that we're all Harry Potter and all that sort of thing, but it's not like that. Okay.
Look, you didn't know. I know you. I know you guys aren't all Harry Potter. I wish you were.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't mind flying around on a broom. Shit, it would beat traffic.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not a bunch of wizards and muggles.
Muggles, yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, all I'm going to say is, are you trying to say that Boris Johnson is Voldemort? Is what you're saying to me, Doku?
Boris Johnson is a Gilderoy Lockhart that never learned how to comb his hair properly.
You're not wrong with that one. No, actually, I agree with that completely. And TC, there is actually a show out there with Doku singing. Okay, just remember this. It does exist. We have computerized proof that Doku sings.
Let it be known that when I say I'm going to do something, I at least stick to it, and I give the people what they want, even if I don't want to do it myself personally. I'm
And
here to
then-
entertain.
And then go out of your way to actually do it again by saying that you'll do it.
Yeah,
I
because
actually like
I
that
also
way.
don't. Well, it's because I also don't know when to shut the fuck up. Apparently.
You've got a very nice singing voice.
Well, that I guess that's up for debate.
Oh. So can I have my argument with no man now?
Oh, please.
Oh yeah, I'm
Everyone
gonna mute.
stand back and enjoy this.
Yep, Syntax versus Nomad. Let's go.
Yeah.
Thunderdome.
All right,
Two
no
go
man.
in, one
The
comes
battle
out.
of the century. Okay.
Okay. So a lot of people say, the answer is to, send a B-52 over, which I'm a military family, and I'm like, no, let's not. But we created the issue. We had a stability in the region. This is going to sound really sick, but Saddam Hussein in Iraq was a check and power for that region. It was something where Iran could focus on them, and Iraq, instead of focusing on Israel, focusing on the United States, and we went in. And this is going to also sound very sick, but we had no right to go in Iraq at that point in time. I feel like Bush was trying to complete a vendetta that his father had. I believe we were lied to.
What evidence do you have that they knew that there was that there were no weapons of mass destruction? Especially considering all of the evidence, all right, including the commentary by Colin Powell, who stated that there was definitely there, but we sit up there and have to go with this. All right. And how do you explain? Hold on, I'm not done with this. How do you explain, all right, the fact of the nerve agent that we did find, all right, and that was actually used on people or used when we exploded it, and have actually gassed our own people who were suffered from those wounds, all right, in the munitions things. To say that we were lied to, all right, belies the fact that we found centrifuges hidden in gardens that were buried in gardens. Okay, and it also was only one aspect of the reason that we went in there. There were 17 other reasons listed, including the fact that Saddam Hussein had been constantly shooting at our planes. Or did you happen to forget that?
Wow. You're a little bit angry, aren't we?
No. Believe it or not, it's a practice form.
Yeah.
You can ask Jensen about that.
Nomad
it's
is
true.
very talented in making people turn down their headsets.
Yeah. This is where I start talking very quietly in
It's okay.
response to Nomad. No, I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't issues, but look at what's going on with Ukraine, right? Look at there's evidence to show that Russia might have had the exact same right to go into Ukraine as we did into Iraq.
Have I been making negative statements against Russia going into the Ukrainians?
No, you're absolutely right.
So I think I've been pretty consistent on this.
No, you've been very consistent on that one. But where I'm just thinking is, I'm like, okay, maybe we fucked up with Iraq, is all I'm saying.
I can't deny that. I can't deny that we didn't screw up with Iraq. But the reason we screwed up had nothing to do with the actual idea that we need to go in there and blow the hell out of it. All right? And the same thing with the Iranians. Quite frankly, the Iranians have been the biggest freaking destabilizing force in that region from the get-go. We've needed to take out Iran for a long friggin' time.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know. Like, I keep looking at what we have done in the region, and it just breaks my heart, because I feel like every time we get involved, we make things worse. And so it scares me.
Well, we do
overlook the fact that one of the few times that we did not get involved in anything, Russia took Crimea.
Well, look at what happened in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
We sit up there and help the Afghanistanis overthrow the Russians, and what was the result?
Yeah.
You gave them all the weapons.
Yeah, but
No.
the Afghanistan is really fascinating. I've been doing a lot of research on it. Okay, so they're not a country like we recognize in the United States or in England. They're very tribal, right? And so when you have
all that region is that way.
Yes, and so when you have a country that's really not a country, it's just a bunch of different tribes, and you take tribal entities or individuals from one completely separate tribe in the north and say, I'm going to make you the police of the tribal area in the south, heck yeah, you're going to have some dissent and putting people against each other. Like, we were not culturally competent with how we operated in Afghanistan, and I feel like we just keep messing up.
That's because we keep turning it over to the State Department to fix it, all right,
Yeah.
which is a major part of the problem, all right. And I don't disagree with you, but that entire region has been tribal, all right. Syria is no different, okay. Iraq was no different. Iran is. I have to admit that Iran is different, all right. But the rest of those areas in there are tribal, and I do agree with you that we have screwed things up because of how we've gone in there. Because we tried to go in there with a Western mentality. Unlike what we did after World War II, where we just walked in and said, okay, you dumbasses, to both to the Germans and to the Japanese, we're in charge. We don't care about your rights. We don't care about who you are. You got to understand, you're going to do things the way we tell you to do things, or else.
I would like, as the British representative here, I would actually like to apologise for the way we cut the Middle East into the chunks we did. We should have just basically pretty much gone in there and slaughtered anyone that got in our way. But unfortunately, we cut it up into countries. Whoever did it deserves the ass kicking of the universe. But nonetheless, it is a British thing, and I apologise for it.
It's a British thing because you listen to the French. That's what happens.
See?
It always comes back to the French.
You notice that bit. Yeah.
But I will admit, there are a few people who I've met who are Iranian that have come to the United States or have been into other countries, and I've talked to either in person that I've known personally or over social media, and it's kind of almost like the same situation that you see with like Cuba or Venezuelans, where they absolutely hate the regime that's currently in charge, and yeah, I kind of feel for them, but at the same time, yeah, Iran's kind of a shit show, and it's a shit show because of the regime that has been put in place, regardless of how it got there or not. There's only one real way to dismantle it, and as much as I hate to admit this, that's basically through systemic destruction. You need to wipe them all out.
No, that's just evil. You can't do that.
When I say you need to wipe them all out, it's the people who are currently in charge.
Yeah. You can get rid of them.
Yeah, you need to get rid of those, and that's what you have to do. Now, I'm not going to say that I know who's going to take over the power vacuum, whether a regime should be installed, or I'm not sure what happens after the fact. But as things stand right now, the power is in place currently. The people don't like them. The rest of the world doesn't like them, with a few exceptions. Cough, China, cough. But yeah, the Iranian people don't like them. The Western powers don't like them. The OPEC nations don't like them. They're a destabilizing force in the Middle East, as Nomad has said. They're not good for the region. The only people who really seem to actually like the Iranian regime as it stands currently is China. They work very well with China for a very specific reason, and that has a lot to do with certain geopolitical factors in regards to installing a certain regime that can undermine competitive powers in the region. They are
the problem. The problem is you got to convince the populace, whether you like it or not. You've got to convince the populace to act civilized. It has nothing to do. I understand that the leadership is bad. We will all agree with that. But the populace is what supports that regime. When it really comes right down to it, whether you like it or not, the people do support that regime with their acquiescence. You either overthrow it or you don't. Now, if you need help overthrowing it, there are forces that would help you to overthrow it. Unfortunately, in America, if you ever try and overthrow a region with a Democrat in charge, you're screwed. Okay, I'm just letting you know that
Yeah,
because
see,
you're
Cuba.
always going to have problems with that. Okay, but the reality is you have to sit up there and deal with the fact that these are people mired with a 12th century mentality, and it's not going to change because you wish it away, and it's not going to change with these bad guys in charge. Okay, you got to convince the people that there's a different way of life and they have to change. It's what we had to do to the Germans and it's what we had to do to the Japanese after World War II. But we understood the threat there. People today do not understand the threat of Iran. They really don't.
Because they're too busy trying to apologize for it, like they're being regime apologists in Cuba, which is why we're not getting any aid to the people that are actually protesting in Cuba right now because they've had enough.
Well, and that's the other thing that we need to point out about Iran, and a lot of people don't know this. They're so without going into too much detail, they're only a few centrifuges away from actually being able to refine certain nuclear materials to the weapons grade degree.
Not
Granted,
anymore.
well,
They've actually admitted that they can get it over 60%, which means you can get it to 80, which means you have an atomic bomb.
Yep.
well, that's concerning. Granted, my information is roughly about 6 or 7 years old, so it doesn't surprise me they would get to that degree. So I guess there's point number one there. Point number two is most of the people who would actually support overthrowing the regime and are in favor of more civilized cultures, whether it's Western or Eastern or what have you, they've mostly all fled. There's a couple you can find where, if the Iranian regime decides to put an American flag on the I mean, there was one video going around several years ago where they put an American flag or the effigy of an American flag on the ground in front of like an automatic sliding door, and there's still a good amount of people who refuse to actually step on it. They'd walk around it. So I mean, there's still people there, but I have a feeling the caliphate's power has been relatively consolidated, and it would be a conflict of interest for Western powers to go in there, mostly not because we really give a shit about Iran, but because if we were to go in and try to pull the same stuff that we did in, say, Iraq or Afghanistan, it would piss off certain other powers, and that might become rather complicated from a geopolitical standpoint.
Can I make a suggestion?
Hey, so before you go on, Jensen, unfortunately, everybody, I've got to go. I've got work to do, so I've got to go back to work. I'll talk to you. I appreciate talking to you. Nice talking to you, Sin. Nice talking to you, Maddie, Doku, Jensen. Have a good day, guys.
See you guys.
Have a good one, bro.
Right. My suggestion is actually really simple. Why don't we just give the Middle East back to the British? When we had it, there was hardly any trouble whatsoever. We had it all sorted out.
Well, my whole thing is with people that want to turn like no man knows I don't agree with him with the whole turn the Middle East into a sheet of glass thing because of the situation that's in Cuba.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is going to sound like a no true Scotsman, but not all Cubans have an absolute and undying love and devotion for the Castro regime.
Yeah.
Fair.
Just like not everybody in Iran has an undying devotion for I don't know what the fuck they call them over there.
Ayatollah or mullahs, yeah.
Okay, and over there. But the difference between Cuba and over there is if they protest, they're shot immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if they're not shot, they're hung.
In Cuba, they're arrested. They go through a kangaroo court, and they're either they're put in a prison or they're executed. But they go through the whole motion of a court trial. Like that's going to do anything. So there's similar mentalities in both countries. Not everybody likes the leader that's in power, but they don't know how they're going to be able to go about getting them out of those positions without losing most, if not all, of their families and loved ones in the process.
And why do you think I'm such a staunch defender of the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, it's because I'm not looking at the chat. Obviously, I'm walking around. I've got energy. Yay!
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do some cleaning before I go to my radiation therapy.
Good luck with that one.
Thank you. It's a matter of perspective because when the protests first started in Cuba against the Castro regime. And if anybody says Canel is a puppet for the Castro regime. He's so far up Raul's ass he can count how many polyps the idiot has in his colon. That when the protests first started, there were videos coming out, and people were already looking for VPNs and stuff because they knew that the country was going to shut down the internet. And there was a very disturbing video of this lady in a house watching her husband get shot and her teenage boys get dragged out of the house because they were taking part in the protests against the regime.
Oh, I remember seeing that video. That was that was not the most disturbing video I've ever seen, but it was relatively disturbing.
Yeah.
I mean, we
they
can't really go into detail on what happened in that video on YouTube because
yeah, that's why I kind of glanced over it and didn't go into too much detail. They have to fight against the military in Cuba. They have sticks, rocks, Molotovs, and machetes. That's all they have. It was a surprise when I was following it to find out that the only way that one of the major cities got recaptured for the people that were doing the protest was because the police in that city did not like the regime and fought on the side of the citizens.
I should point out, and I'm not saying this is necessarily accurate to how the Cubans are, but I will remind you that when it comes to rebellions, yes, they may start with rocks, sticks, and Molotovs, but they can always take the weapons off of the dead enemy, at which point suddenly they have better weaponry.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yes. I'm sure they're looking for their opportunity to do that. When
my
grandmother under Batista had weapons, and when the scuttlebutt came around that the weapons were going to be confiscated, she hid them. Yeah. And Grandma was unerringly duped into supporting Castro, and when it turned out that Castro was the same way, she kept the weapons hidden, and then my family became part of the revolutionaries against Castro, which is why to this day, as long as there's a regime down there that is anywhere tied to Castro, none of my family here can step foot on Cuba because they will be shot on sight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really appreciate, Maddie, you bringing the human perspective into it. I know it sounds kind of easy just to level a whole country. But you're right. There are people that are struggling, that are in these countries that don't know how to revolt. Like Doku said, their weapons have been taken away from them. They do not have a way to retaliate. And it's not that they're fearing for their own lives. It's their children, their families. They will destroy anyone that they love if they revolt. I mean, it's not just Iran. I mean, China. Same thing's happening in China.
I mean, the protesters, you see the protesters. What you don't see is the threats that are about to happen to the protesters' family if they continue marching and protesting against the regime or against the establishment that's in place that's governing the country. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what you don't see. Because while he's sitting there yelling and calling Canel a motherfucker, which is what Singao means, by the way, in case you guys see that floating about, there's people going to that person's house about to hold the family hostage until the guy shuts the hell up.
I should point out there is another country that's very close to this that I should probably mention. America. You might want to seriously look at what's going on around the world and what's going on in your country with your government. I'm not making any claim directly accusing people, but removing the weapons from people could definitely well be considered stage one. Okay.
Well, that's actually not really up for debate because what you're seeing going on currently in America is nothing short of political persecution, and it is done purely for the subjugation of the populace. That is the goal. And I don't care what anyone says. You can call it a right-wing conspiracy theory and crazy and this and that, but I can point to multiple different examples throughout history and then point to what's going on in America right here, right now, today, and the parallels are beyond debate. It is the exact same thing.
First you spread the poison, then you take the weapons, then you have an entire populace at your mercy because they can't fight back.
But do you feel like that maybe it's just me because I'm becoming more educated, that the people are waking up to this, Doku. I feel like, particularly because the Biden administration has been so, it's just been a shit show, basically, and it's been upfront. I feel like people are waking up. People are understanding that they've been lied to. I mean, things like everything that happened with COVID, with the laptop, like all these things that they were like, oh, it's just a right-wing conspiracy. And now they're like, but it's not. So what else are they saying that's not a lie? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So okay, there's a few things to touch on. I don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but there's a couple of things to point out here in regards to this particular conversation. The first one being, it's not a conspiracy theory and it's not right wing, because there's people who are left leaning. It's basically only coming from the establishment media elites and the powers that have been established trying to retain their power that are pushing this idea that it's just far right wing conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And the reason it's not is because your average person, if you just saw the information presented to you without a political bias, this is what's going on, this is what happened in other countries, this was the result, draw the parallels, what do you think? If you took all political biases away, almost every single time people would say, like, yeah, that looks like a hostile takeover or subversion or subjugation of a populace, because that's what it is. Now, what's going on here in the United States is a little bit unique, because we do have the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. So
Currently.
for now at least.
Thank
So
you.
we're allowed to actually point these things out for now and say these things. The establishment can't just go with a full-on Chinese Cultural Revolution style of things and just beat people in the streets until they're, until they just bend the knee. That's not going to happen. That's not going to work. It's also the reason the Japanese didn't invade the continental United States, because they knew there was a gun behind every blade of grass. It's literally the only thing that is preventing our society from being subjugated and subverted through a totalitarian dictatorship. That is literally the only thing. But the most important thing that needs to be pointed out is what's happening here in the United States is a very calculated and long-term subversion of not just culture, but also instilling fear and uncertainty and doubt into the population, so that people are so afraid, not of the government, but of their neighbors and the people around them, that they are willing to give up their own rights and freedoms and give that away to the government, because they think the government is going to save them from a boogeyman.
And I have 4 words for you that agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Goebbels would be proud.
They would. And this is another thing that's really important to point out. What happened during the Cultural Revolution in China, if you look at the mass majority of atrocities that were committed, if you look at who committed these acts of violence, if you look at who was the ones who went and brought people who were against the communist revolution, the Cultural Revolution, who brought them up onto the stage, who had their quote, quote, struggle sessions, who beat them with belt buckles, who killed people, who hung them, who fought wars against each other. It all started in the schools. That's where it all started. It wasn't like the government came in and did this. It wasn't some military uprising. It wasn't a military coup. It started in the schools. Yep. What do you see happening in the United States right now?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the ones that are actually going out, attacking police, trying to burn down buildings, trying to attack any political opposition, calling for violence, openly committing violence, calling for revolution? Look at their age. Look at where they're coming from. Look at where they came from. Look at where they learned these things. Look at who organizes them. Look at who taught them their tactics. It's coming out of academia.
Yep.
That's how you know.
Doku, from Shirati, true Americans will not roll over and die just because the government told them to. I agree with you there, hun. Unfortunately, true Americans are being removed bit by bit by bit until you're all just the people.
Well,
Start to worry when that happens.
It's not only that, it's when some of us saw this coming with, Obama being voted into office. My mom saw it, I saw it, my dad saw it, all because of where they came from. And it's you can't talk to these people that are so set in their ways that communism is great, and it's like, oh no, because you're overreacting, or you're having a knee-jerk reaction. It's not that you're seeing the same pattern emerge from the country that you just left. Because the first time Obama ran and he said, share the redistribution of wealth, or whatever the fuck the phrase was, he said, I talked to my mom, and my mom said, I did not leave Cuba to live in a communist country. This
No.
motherfucker is going to start screwing shit up, and somebody needs to stop him if he gets voted in, because I didn't leave my home country for this.
Fair.
And it's the young people, the indoctrinated or brainwashed young people are not listening to their older generation that has come here from those oppressive countries, from those socialistic and communistic countries. They're not listening to them because they have this rose-colored glass view of what socialism and communism is, and they want it so badly they don't realize how much they could screw themselves over if it actually happened in this country.
But isn't it hilarious, the people that are like these young kids that are from very privileged families who are rising up, and they're like, oh, the oppression and blah, 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 where they have, access to basically everything. And I'm like, do you not see what happens when you turn into a communist country? Do you not like the luxuries that you were afforded right now?
Well, it's because they've been indoctrinated in this type of ideology, and it does come out of schools, and it does come out of academia, because that's essentially become a training ground and an indoctrination camp for these types of radical far left Marxist ideologies. And this is how they start. And also because they are essentially the useful idiots. They are the Gestapo, the marching order. They're
the Hitler Youth.
Yeah, they are the Hitler Youth of what is the current regime. But the other important thing to point out that's going on here currently in the United States, outside of the indoctrination going on in academia, and also the political persecution that's going on in our government, because the government itself is indeed compromised. No one can argue with me about that one, and anyone who wants to, I would be happy to have that argument. The other concerning part, and what really needs to be pointed out, is that what's currently going on, at least in this current past 2 to 3 years, this is not the establishment being concerned about losing power. This is the establishment recognizing that they have already lost power and lost favor from the common person, and that common people are waking up to what's going on, and they don't like it, and they're aware of what's going on and what the agenda actually is, and they're starting to speak out against it. Bear no mistake. Do not think this is anything other than what it is. This is punishment. They are upset. You are not supposed to step out of line. You are supposed to stay in your lane. You are supposed to vote for who they told you to vote for. You're supposed to just accept things as they are. And the fact that you didn't, they are going to punish you for it. They're going to make you hungry. They're going to make you desperate. They're going to make it painful. They will lock you up if they have to. They will call you before Congress. They will do everything within their power by any means necessary to make you suffer. That's what this is about. This
Doku?
is very, very, very intentional.
Doku, do you want to make a point? Oz, I think you need to be careful with Shirati. I think she's off her meds, mate. Okay. Suggesting that Doku is that Joe Biden is saying no. I'm sorry. Then again, suggesting Doku is saying is questionable too. But suggesting Joe Biden is saying she is definitely off her meds. Just stop her typing. It's not good. She'll probably say something silly like she's a fan of, I don't know. Well, let's face it, she's already saying she's a fan of Biden. I mean, that says a lot. Are you telling me, Shirati, that you're turning into a leftist? Should we now consider you one of the enemy?
Oh,
she's going to kick my ass for this. You know that, don't you?
You just have to poke some shit, don't you?
Me? But not me.
I know,
I'm a
you-
good Zom.
Yeah,
I'd
you
never
would
do
never. You would
Yeah.
never. But no, mark my words, because I do want people to be very aware of this. The fear of them losing power, that was 2015 up into 2019. What's happening right now is you didn't do as you were told. Therefore, we are going to do everything within our power to punish those who didn't stay in line. You should have just shut up, did as you're told, don't ask questions, and just be willing to accept what little breadcrumbs are given to you. The fact that people didn't, well, what you're going through right now, this is the punishment. This is the establishment flexing their muscles and showing just how much power they actually have and how painful and miserable they can make life for you at the stroke of a pen.
I
I would
disagree.
I
I
would-
think. Oh, sorry.
No, you go first, son.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think you're giving them too much credit. I think that they lost control. I don't think this is them flexing their muscles. I think this is them absolutely not doing not being able to have any control or know what the fuck they're doing. Like, they've just lost it all.
Oh, syntax. Don't mistake hubris. Hubris was what happened in 2015, 2016. That was hubris.
You think
This-
it's all intentional?
Oh, it very much is intentional.
And before you guys continue, I have got to get out of here because now's my time to finish prepping to go to my radiation treatment. So
All right,
Thank
well, all the
thank
best.
you for the thank you for the invite. And for those of you who do not know, that have come in late, I am constantly amazing both of my oncologists because my red blood count and my electrolytes are well above the danger ranges for me to need any transfusions or infusions of extra liquids as I go through my chemo and my radiation. I am 4 out of 5 chemo treatments in, with my next one coming this Monday. So once again, thank you. And to all of you out there in chat, a brief reminder: do not be so tied up in your own misgivings that you lose compassion for others. Have a good day.
Maddie,
Bye-bye.
cheers. I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Later, Maddie.
I love her. I
She
kind of love
is, yeah.
her.
Oh yeah, no, she is actually really good to chat with. She really is.
Yeah, no, Maddie's awesome.
Right.
But yeah, no, syntax. What's going on right now is indeed intentional. Biden might be a puppet to some degree. Although I think the miscalculation here was that they thought Biden was going to stay somewhat competent, and unfortunately he is just the gaffe machine in chief, and that is really not playing out to their plans. But everything else that's going on, no, this is done intentionally. It is calculated, and it is done to punish you. It's done to make life painful for you. It's done explicitly for the purpose of them flexing their muscles. They want you to see just how powerful and just how much, and it's basically, think about it like this. If I can't have it, nobody can. So rather than letting somebody else have it, I'm going to burn it down. And they're showing you just how far they're willing to go to maintain power. And if you dare go against them, they will burn it down, and it will get worse. That's what they're telling you. They're sending you an open message that if you go against us, you think it's bad now, we can and we will make it worse.
I don't know, though. I think there's a lot of people like me who are willing to say, okay, let it burn down if this gives an opportunity for my children to have a better experience. Like, if it needs to burn down, I would rather have it burn down now and get these people out of power than to wait and push it to my children's generation.
Well, why do you think they're so pissed off about the idea of like with that one person on Fox Business who's like, oh, the apes don't know anything about the stock market, and they just don't know when to sell and this and that, and it's all their fault that the market's collapsing. It's like they're pissed off because you're not selling. They want to own everything. They want to own you. They do not want you to have any type of independence. God forbid financial independence, because that's the third most terrifying thing to them.
Ownership of anything.
Yeah, second only to two other things: the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. They need to abolish those two things, but if they can't control you, the third way they can finally control you is if they can make you financially dependent on the government, and this is the Cloward-Piven strategy. It was outlined back in, I believe it was like the early to mid 70s. It was two college professors. I forgot what university they worked for, but they came up with a strategy that if you wanted to make the United States a communist country, you would do it by expanding government and restricting people's abilities to essentially feed themselves or to acquire basic necessities like housing, medical, and put that all in the hands of government. Basically, essentially create a welfare state. And by doing so, you can push through a communist state because no one would go against you because they become reliant upon government. The only way you can fight against something like that is by using freedom of speech to call them out for it and wake people up to what's going on. And the second thing you can do to fight against that is by having the ability to defend yourself against anyone who might use violence against you. Those are the only two things that threaten a totalitarian, despot-run state. But outside of that, the third one is you burn the whole system to the ground because they're good. They have tons of money. Do you think they're going to be concerned? The only people you're going to hurt is going to be the middle class because they're the only ones that can actually get shit done.
Yep.
This is all intentional. And it's done to punish the middle class. And it's done to make you subservient. It's done to break your will. It's done to make you desperate. It's done to make you despair. It's done to make you regret your decisions and just say, you know what? It's better than starving to death. So I guess I'll just bend the knee. That's what they're trying to do. And if you won't, then guess what? The whole system burns down. We're all fucked. You did it to yourself. You can't blame us.
We blame the millennials, right?
Yeah. We'll blame the millennials because I guess that's the new one now.
Yeah, blame the millennials.
Though, dude, you're saying blame millennials is the thing. I'm just going to again remind you of the thing I said earlier, how there is this absolute stroke of genius in your Senate that actually believes the whole shit show that went on in Syria was all because of global warming.
Well, and there was someone, I don't know if it was Project Veritas or not, but there was someone who worked for CNN saying like, yeah, the whole COVID fear-mongering thing didn't work, so the climate crisis is the new thing.
I saw that.
Yeah, so it's like, great. So again, that's another one the conspiracy theorists are right about. If you can't fearmonger one thing, then it's time to pivot and fearmonger something else.
Yep. Unfortunately, we've been going for 2 hours now, so I think I'll give it a call here. Would you two like to have anything you wish to say to any of these people listening?
Are you referring to me?
No, I'm actually talking to the morons listening to us.
Oh, I know Sharati is frustrated with me. Look, I think she needs to understand where I come from. I am a Army brat. My dad was gone when I was a kid because of war. I'm married to a military member. We have gone through 7 deployments. Afghanistan is a very personal thing to me because a lot of shit happened in my family while he was gone, and to lose it in 11 days was kind of disheartening. My son was just medically retired from the military. He was in the Army infantry. So yeah, I understand that war is a necessity, and I understand that it needs to happen at times, but I am very cautious because yes, the human cost. I'm a social worker, and I'm a clinical social worker, and I worked at the VA doing combat and military sexual trauma counseling. So yeah, I understand what it does to people and the human cost. I worked with, my favorite population was Vietnam vets, like 50 years after Vietnam. Like, Vietnam, what the fuck? Like, did we even need to go to Vietnam? So yeah, I'm hesitant. I'm very hesitant, and I'm worried. And I don't want to just wipe people off the planet because they don't have the means to rise against their government. I just don't think that's right. And so yeah, maybe I come off as ignorant, and I apologize for that. But no, it's not okay. And maybe it's an emotional argument. And I know everyone says bring facts, but killing people? What about the human cost or crimes against humanity? Like, we are better than that. We are better than saying it's okay to just wipe people off because they can't protect themselves from a regime that will kill them or their families. And yeah, Doku's right. This is why we need to be mindful, and this is why we need to be very, very vigilant to keep our rights to speak, to hold weapons. And so, yeah, just because they have lost those rights does not give us the right to wipe them off the face of the earth. And that's just how I feel.
Fair. I would like to modify one little thing that you said. You were saying that we are better than that. I disagree, but I think we should be.
Oh, you're right.
Okay. Sorry to put that minor modification, but Doku, do you have anything you would like to say, mate?
Yeah, the last thing I would say is don't mistake the people in power, the global elite, the uniparty, whatever you want to call them. Don't mistake their hubris for stupidity, because these people aren't dumb. Like, they're very smart. They're very intelligent. They have been putting these types of plans and calculations together for longer than some of us have been alive. Do not underestimate them. They are very, very intelligent, and they have access to more resources than you and me could ever imagine. You should be terrified of them, because what they're doing right now, again, that's just them pissed off. This is just a warning. This is you stepping out of line and getting in their and what they would believe in their minds. You're getting what you deserve. This isn't even a declaration of war. This is them just, throwing the ball back at you with a little bit of spite behind it. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people like to be optimistic. I know a lot of people like to say, like, oh, we're going to take this country back. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You know who else thought that? And this might really irritate some people. Trump thought he could come in and drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Look at how far he got. Did he do some good things? Yeah, he did. I tend to agree with a lot of his policies. But unfortunately, Trump also suffered from the same hubris. He thought he could take on the entire machine and win. He didn't. Let's just be blunt about that. Like, if we're gonna be honest, if you really want this country to not go down the absolute shit show rabbit hole, Trump, the one person who might have actually had the gall, the wherewithal, the business insight, the money behind him to actually take on the machine, he still failed. What do you think you guys are going to do? You better get a lot better at organizing. You better be a lot more vocal. You better have some fucking iron brass balls on your ass, because you're gonna fucking need it. Otherwise, you're going to lose. And that's what I would tell to everyone who is tired of this shit. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. If you are tired of an authoritarian regime breathing down your neck, trying to strip you from your rights, you better have 10 times the size of balls that Trump did, and you better find a way to get the fucking money and backing to actually challenge them. Because if you can't pull that off, you're doomed. End of story.
Fair.
And I know that's going to piss a lot of people off, but you need to fucking hear it.
I want to go eat chocolate now.
Okay. Well, for my final words are simple. Good luck, world. You deserve all the luck you're going to need. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.